Greetings, valued Pull listeners, and welcome to episode 97 of the Pull List Podcast, a bi-weekly show about comics, pop culture, and faith. My name is Chris Poirier, and with me, as always, is the one, the only, the magnificent, the wonderful, the great Hector. How's it going, my dude?
So is episode 97 did we title that directly as a correlation to the new trailer for the X-Men 97, which drops in March?
Changing now.
This better have this whole thing needs like an X-Men font and some wicked
right. Hey bub, don't tell me to be a team player anymore.
We need some like 90s animation on all this.
Well, that's where we get the neon glow and the lasers.
Ooh, that is true. But what I need is I need a rogue skin suit.
Please no.
I'll call you Sugar.
Oh, well, hey, X-Men 97 is a thing, and
March 20th, baby.
It's coming to Disney Plus, and where all your Disney Marvel needs can be met. I think the only thing I will say on that, other than this cold intro, is I saw one news story on the trailer drop that said, "Is this what Gen Z thinks 1997 was?" and I almost died.
Oh, you're right. I bet. Yeah.
And they had the picture of like all of them at the basketball court with like the torn half tank top over their t-shirt.
But that's accurate.
I know. I was kind of looked at it and I'm like, it's not wrong.
Okay.
Yep. Well, I guess you know what that means. That means you need to strap yourselves and prepare yourselves, for we've got Comic Sign.
Better put the word out. Get ready for the nerd out. Better put specs on. Better break necks on. I cut handsome checks for my expansion sets. They call me Obi-Wan. Act like you know me, son.
And that's when 97 needs to come across the screen. Charles is dead. What do we do now?
Charles, no, my helmet. My suit's better Laffy Taffy. I'm the Juggernaut.
And we have ruined every childhood of everyone this morning.
God bless you and your family.
Yep. My brother in Christ. On today's episode of The Pull List, we've got a wonderful show for you. We're going to hit the latest news that you need to know. I actually have some somewhat shocking things to say there. Our must-pull recommendations from the past 2 weeks that actually are from the last 2 weeks, because we're back and we're doing it right. And our new favorite number ones and so much more. This is the Pull List Podcast. So yeah, I'm going to talk about mostly how hard nostalgia hits for almost the entire news block. And I did that entirely not intentionally, but here we go. So end of last year, IDW lost G.I. Joe and Transformers IP. And we had a lot of talks about what's going to happen to IDW and all that. And then they re-upped on Turtles. But I want to talk about the other things first. So G.I. Joe and Transformers went to Image Comics, which frankly, I was like, well, that's a thing. Image isn't usually known for heavy IP stuff, and they're certainly not known for kids' cartoons from the 80s, intellectual property. But some interesting things happened. One of those things is that Kirkman made Transformers a shared universe, and they have a book called Void Rivals that takes place in the Transformers universe on top of their regular Transformers books. We've talked about Void Rivals here because the first few books were really good. G.I. Joe, I didn't really get a chance to read because, let's be completely honest, no.
Not at $5 a pop.
No. And some of the old books were cool. Larry Hama's the dude, but But something interesting has happened. G.I. Joe apparently is a hit in 2024 versus 2023 and before. Under Image's banner, they have increased their sales margins between 10 and 20%, almost a full quarter on G.I. Joe, and only a few issues are out. And that kind of gave me pause and made me go, am I supposed to read this? Because Larry did do the first couple. I think he's still planned for other projects and all that. But as someone pointed out, a book that I didn't see because it sold out even at my local shop is Cobra Commander.
Yeah, I couldn't get that at mine either.
And Cobra Commander was written by Joshua Williamson, a name that should be right.
Yeah.
So it's like
he doing good things.
Right. He do good. And if you don't know, Joshua's kind of one of the stable writers at DC. A heck of a run on the Flash, probably one of my favorite runs.
Solid Batman run.
Yeah, solid Batman run. Basically, if it's a special, they're like, you should do this. And now I'm like, I guess I need to find a copy of this Cobra Commander. But either way, nostalgia's starting to hit. I mean, it's always kind of been a thing, but that's why I'm going to roll into like kind of the next couple news articles, because all y'all out there are like, oh, give me some of that. And that falls back into the big two are kind of having a hard time. While other people are like, here, I'm just going to print this money off from your childhood. And it's apparently working, which honestly, I wouldn't have guessed. But IDW apparently, in that attempt to find that money that they used to print, is putting Sonic the Hedgehog back into print.
It's a good time to put Sonic into print.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get a Sonic 3.
Knuckles is getting his own show.
A show, no less. Not a movie, but a show.
And Sonic's in the show.
Mm-hmm. So Sonic, when it was out by IDW, actually sold really good. And I do recall I had a lot of subs to Sonic when I was behind the counter, and it was popular. And I'm just sitting here going, okay, maybe IDW has brought some leadership in that finally is like, we need to make some money so we can do the thing again. But you'll see that this year. And then I had a fascinating conversation with somebody is, how much do you know or care about Dynamite Comics?
I know that they exist, and that's about it.
Right. So here's the thing is Dynamite is actually pretty much the home of like Red Sonja and those types of books.
Yeah.
But over the last few years, they've been the home of Darkwing Duck, Gargoyles, and now Thundercats. That does not look or feel anything like where I started this conversation. And it's because they went around buying up IP like that and producing high quality books. I haven't had a chance to read Gargoyles, but the art is like, it's the cartoon.
Right.
Darkwing Duck, it's the cartoon. Thundercats, it's the cartoon. And all these folks are just like, yeah, let's chase this nostalgia train like super hard. Produce some decent content, and boom, people be buying comics again. And to me, that feels really weird in the world of the big two, is because technically Marvel and DC have its own nostalgia because they've been around for 80 plus years. And where most of their story arcs and everything are ending up is just kind of,
Well, here's what you have to factor into that. They've been around for 80 years, but they've also oversaturated and buried their own content.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess if you're going to be nostalgic about something, you need to miss it.
You need to miss it, and you actually need to treat your own content like you respect it.
Oof.
And I think that's the biggest failure
Oof.
across the board on all the companies, is that they don't treat their IP like it has any value. Based on every review I've heard of Madam Web, it's like I follow a lot of TikTok movie reviewers, and like I've heard it said it's the worst film of all time. It's the worst superhero film of all time. They literally say it ranks below every DC film. Yeah.
So are you saying this is a movie you didn't see on day one?
Oh no, I'm not going to this.
Hot takes by Hector.
Okay, listen. Let me put this on full understanding for you. The only superhero films I've not watched in theaters of the last lifetime, the last X-Men movie.
Fair. I don't think I've seen that was Dark Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I've still seen it, period.
Now I've watched the what's the one that had Maisie Williams?
Oh, that was the not a horror film.
Yeah, I watched that.
Ah, New Mutants.
New Mutants. I watched New Mutants. I enjoyed that.
I haven't seen that yet. I haven't watched that one yet either for similar reasons.
Right, but that one's actually fun. I've not watched the last X-Men. I've not watched Morbius, and I won't watch this.
I actually haven't seen any of the Venom movies.
Now, here's the deal. The Venom 1 is cute in just terms of watching Tom Hardy play.
Fair enough.
Venom 2 tries really hard to shove 90s nostalgia into a tight container, and it just bothers me that Venom 2 is directed by Andy Serkis.
Ooh.
Because this is a man who has the highest caliber of performing and some of the greatest taste and some of the best artistic vision to do something.
And that happened.
And then he made that. That was my problem with that. But I go on.
But I digress.
And here's the thing. If Venom 2 would have been directed by anybody else, I'd have been like, whatever, that's fine.
This is acceptable.
This is acceptable. Venom 2 coming from Andy Serkis hurts my feelings.
My precious.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that man gave us the speech in Andor.
Yeah.
That man, no, you can't give the speech in Andor and then give me Venom 2.
You're really helping with my should I bother on a rainy day deciding factors here.
Well, you need to watch it just because it plays into MCU now and Spider-Man.
Don't make me do things.
And I mean, if your only version of Venom is seeing the post-credit scene in No Way Home or something, you need a little bit more.
So the nostalgia does not stop there. I guess 2024, that's what we're working on this year. But this is actually kind of interesting, and this could be cool because I don't know the last time they reprinted these, but DC Marvel crossovers and Amalgam Comics are going to hit omnibus reprints hardcover by end of this year. So all of the collected shared universe stuff is going to hit in August. And I believe it's going to be in the omnibus form, which means you will overpay for it for the first month. And if you wait long enough, you can find it on sale.
You can get it at an Ollie's for $5.
Right. Which will be an awesome collected edition of all those things. And if you didn't know that existed, well, congratulations. There was a time period when Marvel and DC did official crossovers and combined comics. And some of them were pretty awesome. And so
where you actually have Darkseid calling Thanos a carbon copy.
Right. Like it goes hard into we know what we are. And I think it was 90s when most of them came out. Some of that might have been 80s.
Some of it was 80s, but yeah, it's a very 90s thing.
Yeah, so there's lots of cool stuff in there and all that exciting stuff. And then I would be remiss in not mentioning that Godzilla's 70th anniversary is this year, and they're going to do a collected hardcover and special. I believe it's May or June. In May. So that kind of leads me to believe there might be something on Free Comic Book Day, but it's going to be it's a 100-page one-shot, and they already have Dan Didio and Jolie Jones attached, and I went, go on.
Listen, I'll read most things Didio puts out.
I feel a butt coming in that comment.
No, he just hasn't gotten a lot of respect lately.
Yeah, poor dude.
And I think that's
DC's literally ripping off his entire idea he got fired for, and here we are.
Right, and that's just where I'm at.
And I'm about to talk about at least two of those books, but one. Whoops.
But well, here's what we can say: even though DC ripped off his idea, and we've seen those ideas play out, it still wasn't a good idea.
That's probably fair, but I think the thing that's also not fair in that is we don't know whether they executed it the way he intended.
Now that's accurate. Yeah, I doubt they did.
Right. By pushing him out, they probably didn't. They were probably like, no, that's stupid. Let's do this. And what did you learn?
Let's give him Madam Web instead of No Way Home.
Ooh. Mhm. Something got caught in my throat. Um,
Bad
but
productions.
bad. Stop. Bad. Do better. Write better things. Film better things. Stop wasting money. Stop wasting decent talent.
Listen, what's the girl? Sydney Sweeney?
Hmm.
They jacked up, ruining her chance to go down as, you know, like a good version of the character she played.
Oof. Womp womp.
Good casting, horrible execution.
Right. No, I that's what I mean is I think they've done some disservices in that process. And maybe that's a good time to like close out the news section of I feel we would be remiss if we didn't talk for a millisecond about the Fantastic Four casting.
No, we're not talking about that.
We're not.
No, go ahead.
So yeah, the Fantastic Four casting got officially announced on Valentine's Day, which was an interesting marketing choice.
Well, have you heard why they're doing that and the aesthetic, the way they did it and everything?
Because they think they can recreate the Vision in movie format and it won't suck.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Yeah.
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 Well, dude, they're going for the WandaVision vibe of like they're gonna give us a '60s superhero movie, then end up with a multiversal thing. It's gonna take place in like '67.
Yeah, no.
So
That's what I got. Like the image itself was cool. Like I liked it, but it made me look at it in the casting and go, we're actually going to screw up the Fantastic Four for like the fourth time.
I don't know, man. I'm hopeful. And did you see that this is the first time a Jewish actor is actually playing Ben Grimm?
Yes, no, that I was appreciative of, and that people actually pointed out that there are not a lot of Jewish specific heroes in the Marvel universe. And Ben has probably been one of the most public in the writing of the thing throughout history. It's him and Kitty Pryde are the two that they write the most, right? Pretty sure
Yeah.
Kitty is the other one.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
partially Moon Knight.
Right. That's true. But it's a short list.
It is a short list.
So I did see that. And also, dude is the guy in The Bear. So
yeah, the Forks stuff was. I haven't even watched all of The Bear, but I watched the whole Forks scene. I thought it was really impressive.
You need to see that whole episode. And frankly, you need to see his arc that gets him there because it's what makes that really cool. I like The Bear. It's a good show. You should watch it.
It's on my list. But it felt like an angry Ted Lasso, and I needed to not watch that right then.
It absolutely kind of is. And there is an episode that you will hit that will throw you in sensory overload and give you a mental breakdown because it is the toughest hour of television I think I've ever seen. And people that have seen The Bear know what I'm talking about. But that's why I'm like, this show deserves all the awards because that's amazing. But yes, I don't know. Maybe I'm also just that guy, but I'm probably on the train of Pedro Pascal has been cast in way too many roles recently that this is going to be good.
Well, Pedro Pascal is the new Chris Pratt.
Right. And that's why I'm like,
just without the Jesus association.
And like, I've loved him in almost everything so far. This feels like a weird vibe.
I see this as being a perfectly functional vibe for him.
Yeah, but if they play him kind of narcissistic and smart, I don't think I'm gonna like it.
I don't know, man.
I think it depends on how they write it and how he goes for it.
I think he'll be okay, but we'll see.
But this comes to the fact that there have been some okay Fantastic Four. There's been some bad Fantastic Four, but there's been no great Fantastic Four to date.
The first 6 issues of this current run are about the best Fantastic Four I've seen. We're currently on issue 14 or something, so do that.
Fair enough. Sorry, Todd. But yeah, that's what you need to know. That's our bi-weekly look at the industry and delivering you the insider knowledge or all of those nostalgic facts and good warm feelings this morning. As always, you can join in on the conversation with Hector and I and all of your other nerdy friends over on the Love Thy Nerd Discord and or our Facebook community over there as well. And you can, join in.
Somebody tagged me in the Discord, and
Mm-hmm.
I responded, and like Hector's made his 2-month appearance.
Yeah. Both of us showed up for like a millisecond. And we're like, what? And it got quiet. We're sorry. But yeah, join in on that conversation. If you tag Hector at least every 2 months, he will check your messages. And tell us what you liked, what you hated.
Dude, it's not even about the community. It's just I get confused. It's a very confusing platform. I don't know where to go. I get a notification and I'm like looking through the thingies on the side like a senior citizen at a Walgreens trying to
Boomer.
find CBD gummies. Who knows?
Everybody tag Hector when you hear this episode so we can see when people are listening. Thanks for being part of my scientific research. And tag him with OK Boomer.
I'm not a boomer.
I know, but stop acting like one. I mean, come on. We're supposed to be the generation that are the triumphant leaders of technology.
Heifer, I had to put a floppy disk in elementary school. There was an internet at my. I didn't take a computer course till my freshman year of college. Get off my Sacagawea.
Okay. We should talk about comics now. That's a transition. So yeah, what'd you read?
Well, considering that you had to steal things from me for my polls, hold on.
I'm not sorry for that, but it means we get to talk a lot about one of the arcs.
Yes,
and that's okay. Because after I read both of those back to back, I was like, we need to talk about this.
Yeah, and I'll say this. Joker Year 1, Zdarsky. This is the best thing Zdarsky's written since his best Daredevil.
Yes. No, I you know how you've probably heard us lately be like, come on, Chip. And then this hit, and maybe they just had to get here, because I have a feeling this was probably one of the ideas when he accepted the thing.
And you can see that they had to do the failsafe and the Zur-Anar and everything else to properly get here.
Yeah.
But they're giving us a Joker Year 1 scenario. And I'll say this also properly kind of cleans up some of the mess of the 3 Jokers.
Yeah, I don't know if he was tasked with that or if he's like, I have an idea.
No, I feel like this is an idea.
And it's the thing I wanted to talk about. So the short version here is we'll tag team this is both. These are coming out weekly, right?
I don't know.
They must be, because we got both of them back to back. And I don't think we're behind.
Yeah, so accurate. Yeah.
Hector's got 142. I've got 143, but we want to talk about this kind of as a package because year ones have typically been really good in DC, that they've done a good job of selecting people to do these. And gave me the feels. But the thing I also like is there's multiple artists involved in both of these too. So they feel kind of like a bigger, I don't know. It's bigger than just Zdarsky, but the overarching story that's being told here, and I'll give credit because I think it was in 142 that they tied back to Endgame at the open of that, and I was like, ooh.
Listen, they tied back to...
That's when I picked Batman back up. That's what got me back into comics was Endgame.
Well, they tied back into Endgame. They tied back into The Killing Joke. They tied back into
it's all there.
Yeah. This is some of the best compiled Joker storytelling that doesn't feel like I'm so I don't get edited out, an illegitimate childization of the character. Because I feel like a lot of the Joker stuff now, the Joker run last year or the year before with like Jim Gordon, that was good.
It was good.
I enjoyed that. a lot of the other Joker stuff has just felt like y'all are just slapping this on to slap it on.
Yes.
Um,
And a lot of people were hitting saturation. They're like, could we not? And I
Yeah.
think some people are unfortunately going to hit this series with the same thing of, man,
I've had enough.
this has been played out. But when they started tying all the things, because also Joker War, I think, is a huge piece of this.
Yeah.
And some of the other hijinks of his existence, but going back all the way to Red Hood, Red Hood gang.
They definitely are validating all of the Joker choices for the last minute with this.
Yes. Do we want to jump in on how they resolved the 3 Joker thing? Ish.
Go for it. Go hit it.
So I think that was
wait. Before we do, I have one thing to say, and this goes into your book as
That's
well,
fine.
more than mine. The art flips,
Mm.
where it's like standard comic panel, masterpiece of art.
Yo, yeah, hold on, let me find one because they're also designed to be jarring, and like the photorealistic ones.
Yeah.
I'll find the other one. I know
The
what one you're talking
Catwoman
about.
one.
Well, also,
yeah, like if you've got the video version of this, or just look at the Joker on the water image in 143, freaking jarring. But it goes from literal like
Catwoman stuff, yeah,
like a basic comic panel to being
hyper realistic,
gorgeous art,
which they did a lot in the Black Label books.
Yeah, they did.
So I think that's what a lot of that is like the true criminal insanity of the Joker is really pulled back into it. But basically the 3 Joker thing. So spoiler alert. They introduced the 3 Jokers a while back, and we kind of got this feeling that, oh, there's more than one Joker, and that's why the Joker's everywhere, and why it feels like Batman has literally destroyed the Joker more than once and he never goes away, and that we get these different vibes of Jokers that, you know, they must be different people, that they're separate. I'm starting to realize there could be a really deep religious analogy here.
Yep.
I'm starting to wonder. Oh, dang. That's starting to make some of this imagery actually make more sense. I have a feeling I know where Zdarsky's going with this.
Right.
But they reintroduce us to one of the people that trained Batman way back in the day. That's like, oh, I want to help you, Joker, because I feel like, you know, now's the time. And I'm like, yeah, that seems pure. That's a good idea. Nothing terrible can happen with this. And he sits the Joker down and basically explains that one of the things he taught Bruce is to be able to isolate himself within his own brain, within his own mind, for when he needed to accomplish certain things. And half of you just went, oh, I get it. And either you loved it or you hated it. And basically what we see by the end of 143 is that the 3 Jokers exist, but they exist within the same person, and that they are isolated mindsets of the Joker for when he needs to accomplish certain tasks. And we begin to see part of the process of that character changing between those phases when needed, etc. And it's really kind of frightening. And straight up, this is where actually I'm more scared of the Joker again than I was during it's 3 people that are very similar but different, all members of the Red Hood gang kind of thing. This makes me go, oh no, we're back to sociopath on like a high level.
No, this is more frightening Joker than anything. Because listen, if the Joker is 3 people, it stops being scary.
Right. Now he literally is. It's almost dissociative disorder. That it's multiple personalities within a single person, except kind of like Moon Knight, but not like Moon Knight is. Well, Moon Knight recently. The Joker can choose which one at will. It's not a random floating through these different personalities. This is what I need right now. Flip the switch. And that's pretty frightening.
It's pretty frightening. But that's what's been doing it. And that's honestly like, because I read these back to back, and it was a lot. Like, I was like, oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it was that. And I was like, this is dope. So yeah, I have officially poo-pooed on Zdarsky for like half of his Batman run.
Yeah.
And so I will say this formally. Good job.
Yeah.
Uh,
I also in the first issue straight up was like, hey, it's Tom King.
Listen, I'll say this:
But I don't hate it.
he pulled this off better than Tom King would have.
That's fair.
Tom,
Something dragging your dead mother through the desert.
yeah, Tom King would have done this in a way that ended up with
Three
it
Jokers.
being like maybe
Mm.
it would have ended somewhere in that capacity. But yeah,
Yep.
all right. Second, and this might have been my favorite, but the Cull.
Man,
I know your shop didn't get it. So the Cull finally dropped the 5th issue. Like, it was to the point I was worried I had missed it because it had been so long.
is it a 5-part or a 6-part mini?
5?
Okay, so that's the end.
It's the end.
So it's the end of the first arc. So we're gonna get a collected edition, and maybe it goes on. Got it.
Yeah.
Continue.
So like you saw how it started with the whole kaiju thing.
Mhm.
I won't give you spoilers, but you get some kaiju gratification too.
Yeah, I'll pick that back up when the first trade comes out then.
Yeah. You get some kaiju gratification, but effectively these kids, because it's been like a year since we started this discussion, these
Oh
kids,
goodness.
yeah, it has been. This 5 issues took a year to get through. But sitting on the other side of comic books, like even trying one project, I get it. Like I'll say, we'll talk about it more, but man, I have a lot more respect for how hard people have to work to try and get these things out on a proper timeline. But the story just plays out well. These kids go looking for a missing child under the guise of filming a documentary. In the process, end up in a foreign land that's adaptive, but the idea is the foreign land rejects anyone that has weakness or damage.
I'm sorry, it's Hollow Earth theory, but go on.
Get that. Well, not that part isn't Hollow Earth theory.
No, that everybody plays that part a little different.
Yeah.
Legacy of Monsters came awful close though.
No, I'm just saying like that it removed, like they don't want people of weaker damage. Like that was the characteristic of it. And like this group rolls into, and they basically get to the point where they can manifest superpowers, but they don't want, like the climate doesn't want the one person with too much drama and damage. And that just kind of plays out, but like there's a trade every time something enters their world, they enter your world. And yeah, I'll save it, the culmination of it, but they give you a really good climactic end game-ish style battle. Turn your pastiness down, you're hurting me.
I literally can't control it. It really, I mean,
turn your monitor down.
Bro, it's 2 settings and it's technically worse.
No, I meant like on your screen.
Oh, I don't even know if I could do that. It's just depressing.
If you're watching the video, Chris is just luminescent.
I'm so white. I glow in the day, bro, and the video just proves it.
But
this is the ginger life. I'm not sorry.
It culminates in a big battle that's pretty great and everything. But then it takes a hard R Rickroll at the end.
That's actually, yeah, that's great. I haven't even read it, and that makes me happy inside.
So it's like they literally like get to the point where they're like, oh man, this is what a good ending, a happy ending. Psych!
We did it.
And that's just like, and literally I was like, oh no. And the way that they tell you something's wrong is so subtle, because you have to have, like, here's what I'll say, this will play off better as a trade than it will as individuals. Because they tell you something's wrong visually, and if you haven't read the book recently, you might have forgotten that something's wrong based on the imagery. All I'll say is this: as a 5-issue storyline, pretty freaking flawless. Writing, art, this is one of the most tightly packaged, well done books I've read. God bless you and your family. Um, let's see what
Nice.
else. Red Hood, The Hill, number one. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I figured we were talking about it, but now I'm curious. Go on. He had to drink his
Keep,
coffee.
yeah, got to hydrate for this one. Hydrate and caffeinate because I'm got to spit that venom.
Yes,
Venom.
I was right. Go on.
What?
Nothing. Go on. I want to hear it.
This is the direct sequel to the 2 issues of Red Hood that got started after Red Hood was disbanded. So Red Hood had a 50 issue arc of Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Yep.
The Hill storyline started in Red Hood 51 and 52 and then just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Which was a traumatic time for Hector.
And you know that Michael Jordan meme of like, and I took offense to that.
Right.
I literally kept.
I have a lot of questions. First of all, how dare you?
I kept the 2 issues of 51 and 52 bagged and boarded. I don't even keep my books bagged and boarded unless I really care. I kept issue 51 and 2 bagged and boarded just so I could be angry. So I could be reminded that they started a story and didn't finish it. Listen, I don't even care if a story is terrible. Finish it. Don't give me 2 issues of a setup of a whole new thing and walk away and act like it didn't happen.
That's right.
Aggressive thumb pointing. So this being said, is it a great Jason Todd story? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Is Sanford Green's art wonderful? Absolutely. Sanford kills the art. Now, here's the thing. This was my criticism when issue 51 and 52 started. This does not feel like a Red Hood story. This
Agreed.
feels like a story built and written for a different character. But if you insert Jason Todd into it, people will read it. There's a new song by Mumford & Sons right out now called Good People.
Mm.
If you listen to Good People by Mumford & Sons, it is not a Mumford & Sons song. It is produced by Pharrell. And if you listen to that song, it is an Adele song that they put Mumford & Sons in.
Ooh.
Like, it literally sounds sonically, rhythmically, tonally, vocally, it sounds like something that came off of Adele's 19 album, like Rolling in the Deep status. If you cut and paste Adele into this song, it's a better song. This looks like the story for an original comic book creation, but because to increase readership, they put Jason Todd in it.
So I picked it up because it was the number 1 and it said Red Hood on it. And then I read it and I put it down, put it back in its bag and forgot that it existed.
Yeah. So this is, even though it's a number 1, last week there was a 0.
Oh, I missed that, but I don't think that would have helped.
No. Red Hood, The Hill 0 is issues 51 and 52 combined.
Oh.
But this is putting Jason in an urban setting, in a like where he's the token white guy in a cultural situation where he is helping disassociate himself from Batman. Because listen, when this story started, it's because he was on the run, like as a character. The Outlaws had gone. He had just shot Penguin, and was disassociated from the Bat family, and he was restarting his life. And he was starting it in a new time, in a new place with different people. It made more sense when this story dropped. Now, this story does not fit, other than the fact that they just put the phrase Joker War in there.
Right.
To make it timely relevant. Now, is it well written? Yes. Is it good? Yes. But I'm going to tell you this. I really do feel like this is something that is not organically Jason. I don't feel like this would have been part of his story on his own.
That might be what bothered me. Because I was trying to, I don't know. I agreed that it was visually pretty stunning, but I was like, why do I care? I'm not caring at all.
I mean, you're putting Jason in the middle of an urban neighborhood where he is like the odd man out culturally. Like you've got Jason literally invited to the cookout. Um, where he is in a culture like literally it feels like um it feels like they're trying to tonally change their background because let's be honest, most of the people that the Bat family interacts with are Caucasian people.
Yeah.
Like you take out Duke and you take out a handful of others, and there's let's like Bruce mainly hangs out with Caucasian people, and like to put Jason in an almost all African American environment just feels different. Not wrong, but just like how did you get here?
Mm.
And it feels like that's a progression of story element that I felt like would have needed more time building up to actually get there organically. I'm gonna read it. I'm happy it's here. I'm happy to have a Jason Todd book.
But
There's not a. I don't know that there's a but.
okay.
But like here's where I'm saying like okay, you jump from 0 to 100 and like you jump off to the point where Jason's going into a environment fighting bad guys with a group of kids in like makeshift costumes with gunfire.
Lots of guns.
Lots of gunfire, and I really do feel like this would have read better with a completely original character. This book would have been a better book without leaning on Jason Todd. That being said, my last poll is just to say, My Hero 36 is out. It came out in December. I enjoyed it a lot. If you're still caring about My Hero at this point, you'll care. You get the definitive end game because they're wrapping up the story. The story's almost
Right.
over. They're down to the final battles. You get the definitive Todoroki versus Dabi battle, like the end battle.
Yep.
Between those two. You get Endeavor versus One for All in a end game level battle. And then you also get Shigaraki. Is that the right word? The hand guy?
I believe so. That sounds
Yeah.
right.
If you're not aware, if you're not up to speed on the My Hero world, One for All has implanted his existence into Shigaraki's body and kind of fighting for control. So you get Todoroki versus Dabi, Endeavor versus OG One for All, and then you get Bakugo and everybody and their mama except Deku versus Shigaraki One for All.
Oof.
And Deku is not in this book at all. Like not
That's
a page.
wild.
Not a page is he in this book. You need to go back to 35 if you need to see why. But like in terms of like, and I will say this one was relentless as in terms of a manga. Like there wasn't story per se as much as it was nonstop 3 giant battles. Like I had fatigue reading this. Okay, I'm done. Go.
It happened. All right, let's see. So, yeah, I already said Batman 143. The only additional thing I will add to our Joker Year 1 story is a middle career Jim Gordon is fun.
Yes.
Still hates crooked cops, still doing the right thing. I enjoyed Jim's middle story every time it gets presented because he's just the change that law enforcement needs, like across the board, and he's always been written that way. He's a straight arrow cop, but at the same time, it's it's that weird ism because he's willing to take on the vigilante Batman, but bad cops still need to be dealt with, kind of thing. And that story is playing out in the middle of this because lots of crazy stuff happens kind of around that part of the story.
Yeah.
And I dig that. I'm down. All right, now let's jump. Well, no, I'll do my other DC book and then I'll dump into Chris's random indies. So the Suicide Squad kills Arkham Asylum. I normally wouldn't do this because it's a video game tie-in and that's why it exists. But
And it's a video game tie-in to a presumably bad video game.
Yeah. But John Layman, who is the writer of this and is the dude responsible for the comic book Chew, I like John. He's a good dude. So I was like, I will read this book and see what I think. And this was fun. If you played through all the Arkham Asylums and all of that, there's pulls back to those games and everything. That's really kind of smart and fun. The art is actually really good for, what clearly is a side project. Maybe it's not a side project, but it's cool. I didn't hate it. In fact, it was kind of fun. And I don't know if I'm going to bother playing the video game, but I probably will finish reading this because it's just interesting.
From what I understand, the video game plays like Crackdown.
So you're going to love or hate that.
Yeah. And so it's like if you're expecting an Arkham Asylum game, you're getting
it's
Crackdown.
Not that. Yeah. No, I should. Yeah, no, I'd heard that too. That if that's your expectations there, no. But it does supposedly follow a lot of the lore that's been established in video game existence and everything. And this helps tie some of that together. So if that's your jam, you should read it. It's pretty fun. I don't mind fun. Fun is good. This is the moment where Chris tells everyone Boom is writing some of the best freaking comic books out there still, and you're still not reading them. My next two in a row are Boom number ones from this week. So, first of all, from Boom Studios, The Displaced. I don't know if you saw this book.
I wanted to see that book.
The art is kind of cool. It's not over the top or anything crazy, but it's just a neat little vibe. But basically, all you need to know here, this one's really easy, is you get introduced to a handful of characters that all kind of have jacked up life stuff going on. And there's an earthquake, and all these people happen to be outside of their small little town in Ontario, Canada. And when they turn around, the town is gone. It falls into a hole. And it is gone.
In the quiet town of Ontario, Canada.
Right.
It stopped existing.
And they met this crazy old dude that sets a bus on fire to block people from going into the town. He's like, I know what's happening. And they're like, okay, crazy old man. And then the town literally falls into the earth and disappears. And they're all like, what? And so, all the survivors kind of get gathered up together and they're like, that's really screwed up. Our town's gone. And the old guy's like, I know what's happening. And they're like, cool. What? He's like, oh, well, and then he rattles off 4 towns from across the world. And they're all like, we don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, right. He's like, in about a week, no one's going to know the town we're from existed. He's like, they're just going to forget. And they walk you through a couple days where people are already starting to forget. And on day 3, the hole zips itself back up and disappears. And the town that's supposed to be 30 miles away is suddenly at the line of where they're standing. And they're like, what? It's like the earth swallowed the town. And the old dude, the end of this book is, no, it never existed.
Okay.
I'm going to read the crap out of that.
Yeah.
I was just like, heck yeah. I was like, also on that cliffhanger. Chef's kiss. It's interesting because basically we're going to follow this group of, it looks like it's 5 people that still remember because they survived, but literally the world around them is forgotten. And that apparently this is happening kind of over and over again all over the world. Okay. This is why I love indie comics. I was like, will they screw this up by issue 3? Possibly. Boom Studios Numero Uno, Pine and Merrimack. This is, I can't call it a police procedural,
I was
even
about
though
to
that's
say,
my
am I about to
jam.
hear the words police procedural?
But it kind of is. But it's
Okay.
basically, it's a husband and wife team.
Mhm.
The wife, her sister went missing when they were a kid and they never found her. And so she became a cop because of that, became a detective, met this boxer, as in put up
I can
your
tell.
dukes, and he hits things really hard, and they fall in love, they get married, and they open a private detective agency and do that type of stuff, but never do missing persons because of the trauma of the main character. But the end of the first book is someone basically like, my daughter's missing and is really creeping me out, and the husband's about to say, yeah, we don't do that, but the wife takes the case and basically says, the kid looks a lot like my sister. So clearly, like,
Yeah.
serial bad guy type thing. But also just check some of that art.
I'm gonna say this. Boom puts good books together.
Yeah, and so the joke in the thing is, Pine and Merrimack is not the name of the two people. That they like, the typical police procedural with this kind of stuff is that's the name of the people. It's actually the name of the intersection in front of their detective agency. I was like, well played.
Yep.
And they basically keep correcting people throughout the book, and I'm like, got it. That's kind of funny.
On that note, let me just say, like, on police procedural, but not. Mr. and Mrs. Smith was really good.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I think I finished that in like 3 days.
The truth serum episode at the end,
right?
That was a masterpiece.
All I have to say to the haters of this, and they exist, is you are unfamiliar with Donald Glover's writing and work.
My gosh.
Because if you did not get the vibe through that entire show, that clearly where a lot of that came from, and also the level of humor, I was like, because I met people that were like, that was terrible, and I'm like, I'm sorry you hate good.
Oh my gosh, that was so good.
Because it was kind of funny. I have some extended family where like, oh, we saw it because the movie was so good, and then they watch it, they're like, we hate it, and I'm like, oof. And I was like, you kind of missed all the points.
Watch it because of the movie, but I was like,
I did the same thing, and then I had friends. I straight up had friends that were like, you need to watch Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I'm like, all right.
Which, by the way,
after the first episode, I was in.
I got to the point in Community where Donald Glover leaves.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, well, he'll probably be back next season. He's probably filming Star Wars or something. And I was like,
yeah, that's it.
And my kids don't want to finish it now.
You should. It drops off, but yeah. So yeah, all right. What you got for number one? Let's give the people what they want, what they pay us for.
Here's the thing. I don't have a genuine number one.
This book, the book you have listed, because I already know what he's gonna say. We're professionals here.
Yeah.
I saw a lot written about this book, and I didn't find it.
Oh, okay.
So I want to know, because I saw so many quote unquote positive things about it.
It's not bad. I just didn't care by the time I got to it.
Fair.
And that could be my life is stupid right now, or that could be it's more your jam than mine.
Fair.
But this is a reporter going into a war zone on another planet.
Okay.
It's an episode of Doctor Who. And like, it's kind of a Hurt Locker situation, or, Black Hawk Down, of the minute, she's like, I'm good. I'm, what I'm doing. I'm cool. Literally, it goes from that to shell shock of your ship just went down. 90% of your crew is dead, and you're left stranded on a alien planet where you're being hunted, and you're the last human survivor.
And I'm sure everything's fine.
Yes, everything is fine. It's delightful. Now I'll say this: first couple pages, I was like, I genuinely don't care. I'm going to put this book down. And then it turns to, it just kind of hits the ground after that. Like, once stuff really starts popping off, it pops off. It's good. I think I just read it too late at night. I also feel like if they would have started with a cold open, like of started with the like Tarantino it a bit of like start
The
like,
end.
not even the end, like
Okay.
start with the crash
Okay.
and
And then
then
back up a little.
just back up a little and hit it running. I
Okay.
feel like because like there's a point where like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like a part on page 7, 8. Yeah, let's say 7, where like somebody is Gus Fringed, like after the explosion.
Mm.
No, okay. Forgive the intensity of the line here. Um, there's a dude with his intestines hanging out, and he's saying, "Where'd I put my shoes?"
Shock is a heck of a thing.
Yes. Start me with that panel,
Right. And then back it up.
then back it up. I would have enjoyed the whole presentation more if you'd done that. Past that, it's good. You would enjoy this. I feel like this is more your jam than mine. But if you find this, I'm already dead is the title of the book, and it's what I said.
It's exactly what I said.
It's exactly what I said. All right, go on.
It is what it says it is. Okay, whatever. So I probably stole this one from Hector. Did I?
I don't know. What was it? I forgot.
Really? DC's new Sinister Sons.
No, I didn't want to read that.
You didn't?
No.
It's literally the same team as Super Sons.
I didn't read Super Sons.
You didn't?
No.
How dare you? Because it was my poll like the entire time.
That's why I didn't read it. I got all I needed from you.
Should I be on? Wow. Anyway. Well, that's our show. Hector hates me. Jeez. Anyway, Tomasi doing like two kids that don't belong in each other's orbit stories in DC's universe definitely sounds stupid at the beginning. And when I saw this cover, I didn't want to get it. But then I saw that it was Tomasi and I went, okay, Super Sons is kind of great. So this is literally the opposite.
Yeah.
In that it's a kid that believes he is Sinestro's son, doesn't know, and the son of General Zod.
Now I saw Zod's son story play out in the Zod book. Like
correct. And there's a bunch of editorial notes to the Zod book that's out right now that I absolutely won't read.
Well, I read the first issue and I'm done.
So I think a lot of this was actually from the second one, but you know, it's got the art that made Super Sons kind of fun. And these are two technically not so great characters being thrown together who both think the thing about Super Sons is the two characters were played off each other as almost opposites. Right. This one's going to be, they are almost the same in that they are super narcissistic, believe they are, you know, the next amazing thing in the universe, and that their dad is someone super cool to them. So it's just fun. It's nonsensical. It's broken in probably every way it can be. But like the kid who thinks Sinestro is his dad, like it's opening up with he's planning a way to trap Sinestro so he can do a DNA test just to prove that Sinestro is his dad so he can get all the credit in the Yellow Lantern Corps. So yeah. And General Zod's kid just literally walks on water. And is generally a bad dude.
It just gave me even without cracking the cover, it gave me Runaways vibe.
Yeah. That might be fair.
And I think I just didn't want to read Runaways again. I mean, that's just what I was like, yeah, no thanks, I'm good.
Fine. Tomasi writes things like this really good. You should read stuff that Tomasi writes like this.
Tomasi's wonderful.
Yeah. Stop hating him.
I don't hate him. I just don't want to pay $5 to read Runaways.
This one was only $4.
Skin. Dude, this is Runaways with a Fortnite skin.
Ooh, it's doing the floss.
Yeah, that's what it's at.
So yeah, that's my number one.
Okay.
Got anything else for the people?
No.
Great. Well, I guess that is in fact going to do it for us here at the Pull List Podcast. Episode 97 is now in the books and now in your ears and your eyeballs because, well, you know, if you want to punish yourself, you can see Hector and I. Well, you can see the blurry place that is my white face around my beard.
Hold on.
He lied.
Todd Turner said that the How to Lose a Guy Gardner in 10 Days was really good. Did you not see that?
I did not see that either, so that's where I'm at. Anywho,
that was the DC Valentine's special, was How to Lose a Guy Gardner in 10 Days. It was a whole romantic.
Yeah, I wouldn't have read that anyway.
It was a whole romantic drama.
I am not paying DC $10 on a random holiday ever again if I can help it.
You liar.
I might get the Halloween one.
You're going to get every Halloween one, and you'll probably get the Christmas one. Get out of here with that garbage.
I have not been, no.
You'll definitely get the Halloween one.
I'll get the Halloween one and still probably be disappointed.
Yes, and you will consistently do that, but yeah.
Hate you, DC.
But no, I definitely wasn't getting the Guy Gardner thing, but, you know, maybe I was. I don't know.
I mean, if it's an attempt to make Guy Gardner a good guy, I'm definitely not buying it.
Oh, no, it was supposed to be that he was a waffle.
Are we not allowed to say that? Yeah, there we are.
Yeah, it's a douche waffler.
Yeah. All right. Well, but it's true. You can watch Hector and I on the YouTube. You can listen to us on just about every place on the internet. But as you know, we do not do this alone. We are part of the Love Thy Nerd podcast network. Hector has other wonderful shows here. We have friends with other wonderful shows here. So if you ever want to catch up on back episodes and things, you can go to lovethynerd.com and check out any new shows, things that we've done in the past. You'll find all of our cool stuff there. So be sure to add that up to your listening and or watching routine. But as always, Hector and I do want to thank you for choosing us as your comic book knowledge factory on a near weekly basis. It's every other week. And so don't leave us hanging. Rate and review the show on your favorite podcasting place of choice, or YouTube, like, subscribe, slam that like button. And just don't leave us hanging. So we're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, like I said, practically all the places on the webs of Enter. So yeah, thanks for listening. And remember, kids, read more comics. Pew, pew, doo, 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 doo.
I'm gonna take all 7 continents as a game of risk.